In my work as a teacher, advocate, and a founder of Intellectual Giants in Africa Foundation, one of the biggest challenges have always been getting reliable, up-to-date information about the Nigerian educational system. And I work with multiple indicator cluster survey, National Population Commission data, Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, just to mention a few. And by the time we had what we needed, it was either too late or too incomplete to act on. So when I came across Edu-Data Nigeria just a few days ago, the first thing I did was to look at some educational statistics for the North Central region in Nigeria. And within minutes, I could see the compliance score, I saw the infrastructure index, I saw enrollment trend, I also saw financing breakdown, clearly in one place with sources attached. And what has been most useful for me is the primary school completion and the adult literacy, which showed in 2024, showing 71.2% and 60% respectively. Edu-Data is really changing the narrative, not just for people like me, but for other educators and government parastatals. And if you work in the field of education like myself, and you haven't used Edu-Data yet, I encourage you to visit the platform. The data that shapes Nigerian educational future should not be locked away in government offices. It should belong to all of us. Thank you.
If you've ever tried to build anything around education data in Nigeria, then you will understand the work that goes, has gone into Edu-Data. In my work as a product and automation engineer, one of the most persistent challenges has been access to reliable, structured, and decision-ready education data. Most of the time, we're pulling from fragmented sources, PDFs, outdated government reports, and occasional data sets that required heavy cleaning before they were even usable. By the time we had something coherent, the insight was already lagging behind reality. While testing the Edu-Data platform, I approached it the way I evaluate any data products I have tested it. I started with the map data visualization, and within minutes, I could access the annual budget per student for different states. But Gombe caught my attention. 60,000 naira per year for every child is alarming. What stood out immediately was not just the availability of the data, but the way it had been organized for actual use, not just reporting. The most useful feature for me has been the compliance dashboard, infrastructure index, financing module, and the gender parity dataset. For example, seeing that internet connectivity is a significant and terrible gap of 18.4% got me worried on how much work needs to be done to make digital learning accessible in these Nigerian states. That kind of visibility directly supports how I view products. It shortens the distance between data and action. From a product and systems perspective, what Edu-Data is doing is very important, very important. It's not just aggregating information, it's structuring it in a way that makes it interoperable, makes it usable, and makes it scalable for decision making. And that is something the ecosystem has been missing, to be very honest. For too long, critical education decisions have been made with incomplete or inaccessible data. Tools like Edu-Data begin to close that gap, not just for builders like me, but for policymakers, for NGOs, for education stakeholders across the country.
My name is Henry Belchukwu, a digital transformation specialist for His-Success Consulting. So in my work as a digital transformation specialist, one of the biggest challenges we normally face in most times is the idea of getting reliable and updated information about the Nigerian education system. And while working as a digital transformation specialist in Nigerian economy, where we collect information from schools, we collect data from schools that are scattered all over we do have enough of problem. Most times you can travel from one place to the other. Apart from that long journey, getting accurate information is always a problem because they may not provide you with the right information you need. Let's say, for example, we are carrying out a research in Ogun State or Ondo State, and we are to visit all the primary school sectors to collect their digital capabilities and what they have and what they have been taught. Very many occasions we find it as a challenging activity to do. But when I came across Edu-Data Nigeria, when they introduced me about it, it was the first time I saw a solution provider to our need. So at Hipsoft Consulting, we will not have any challenge anymore. In fact, I could see the entire data being streamlined on the platform, and I was wondering how. Apart from that, they were also providing the source of the information that will enable us to run through. So this for me is one of the greatest challenge. Will I call it a gateway to the challenge that we have been facing? So I suggest if this solution can be brought to so many organizations, it can be a game changer. Again, somebody was asking me what has been the most useful for me. The most useful for me is that by the time you go through that application, you will see everything you need to collect our information and send to the right NGOs for proper analysis and also in resource sharing and management. It will also give us an insight on what to propose to the management or to the government on areas to improve on child's education in Nigeria. So I will say with the application, Edu-Data is a game changer for me because it changed the role in which we operate. It changed the pattern in which we run our business processes. So for me, I will say for as long as decision concerning these children, Nigerian child, I think Edu-Data has provided us with the right step. So they will cut me from just proposing from the blue on the trainings we are to implement, the IT facilities or infrastructures we are to deploy to very many schools. So I will say thank you. Do take actions for this particular initiative. For me, it has brought game change in transforming the data management in Nigerian economy, and I will applaud you for that. Thank you, because this application is for our future. So I'm encouraging anybody who is not using Edu-Data and you are working in this part of our parastatals of those collecting information, analyzing it then and proposing to the government the way forward. Please try Edu-Data. Your trouble will be over. Thank you very much. Once again, I am Henry, a digital transformation specialist. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ola. I work in the civil society space. Our organization works in conflict-affected areas like Borno, Yobe, Adamawa, where the odds of school crisis is most severe. We knew things were bad, but advocacy requires more than things are bad. It requires numbers. It requires comparison. It requires evidence that holds up when you sit across from a donor or a senator. Edu-Data gave us that. The research brief on out-of-school children shows us specific states and their numbers. So, even when applying for funding, it can be a go-to spot to get the right data easily and with speed. But What I keep coming back to is the infrastructure index. Knowing that only 35.7% of schools have electricity access, or that internet connectivity is at 18.4% nationally, I can use those numbers to make the case for specific interventions, not just general support. For civil society actors, data is currency. Edu-Data is the most useful platform I have found for turning Nigeria education crisis into a language that funders understand.
Hello, in my work as a professor, we use a lot of data covering a lot of areas, and for example, we are often making reports on River State as one of our key areas of interest. So I'm looking for a particular situation, like what is the power usage, what is power status in the education sector. But when I came across the Edu-Data Nigeria, I could easily check up maybe if it's River State. That God makes it easier for you to check what state, and get exactly what kind of information that you need that will be most useful, and help with it. So it was huge because it helped with the ease of getting data. It showed me, the real-time data, in that sector I needed, and it target people, and it has gone along with enable me to provide power support to the schools that we want to work in, which is a very big plus. And so in any field of your work, especially where education and related issues are concerned across the state, Edu-Data is a key tool that is worth trying. It has helped to simplify a lot in terms of information and in terms of accessibility, and I think everybody needs to try the Edu-Data app solution.
When I heard about Edu-Data, I was curious to see what was going on. At the first time, I did not really believe that a thing like that could happen. But another time, I just decided to go through the data, and what I saw was really, really amazing. It was unbelievable. It was out of this world. I mean, in the past, it would be so difficult to get anything about data, about education, enrollment in schools by locations, and so on. But I was shocked to see that Edu-Data has incredible data showing schools not only in segments but in different locations. For example, I was able to see school enrollment, net enrollment. I was able to see completion rate, also data about gender and adult literacy. So I commend whoever that put this together. It's an amazing job. It is an exciting job, and because of my passion for education, I will spend more time to read it, and in fact to be able to adopt it in all I do. I keep saying that the development in education in Nigeria will start any day that we're able to put our data together. Data about who and who is in school, at what point in time, how many girls are in school, how many adults are enrolled in school, and here Edu-Data has been able to cover that in a segment in a way that is unbelievable. So Edu-Data is Nigeria educational system at a glance. So I commend whoever that did this. I commend the team that put this together. It is worth celebrating. It's in line with the approval by the federal government to have online schools. So with this kind of data, we should be able to plan well and execute it properly. So thank you, Edu-Data. I'm really, really excited.